was the stylist, the costume designer on Gossip Girl. But anyone who works with me, I love it's like drinking through a fire hose. You're like, wow, I come in and I'm like, this is what we're going to do. But it's just because I really, I find that fashion is storytelling. It's a way to message so much more than you can with words sometimes. It's a silent way to message things. So the way that I come into a character is always through the fashion and through the costumes. So
saw in another interview you said that Ryan, actually, your husband Ryan Reynolds, wrote part of that rooftop scene. Is that true?
Yeah, that's. I mean, I would have to compare it to the original one, but that's 99% his. Yeah, he just added, Chrissy Hall wrote an incredible screenplay. It was, one of the reasons that I wanted to do this film. But also, there are natural tweaks and modifications that come in when the actor is hired and you're trying to infuse your own personality and your own authenticity. And it's like, women are people of multitudes. And, I think that it was important to me that it didn't just feel like someone's interpretation of like, female gaze. Like it really was, this is what we like, this is what we listen to, this is what makes us feel these vibes. And we had an incredible music supervisor, Season Kent, and one of our editors, Shane Reed, who, fun fact, he was my editor on Taylor's music video that I directed. And I was obsessed with him. And I was like, this guy is amazing. And he never edited a movie before. He just finished Deadpool and Wolverine, and he came on and helped us with this one. And he has incredible taste in music. And we share the same composer as well from Deadpool and Wolverine. So there's a lot of sharing.
A massive lawsuit looms. Lawsuits on both sides are gaining steam, and fans are left wondering, how did America's sweetheart wind up at the center of a $400 million storm? For some, it's a sad story of an actress blindsided by toxic production issues and relentless smear campaigns. For others, it's a cautionary tale of hubris, with Lively orchestrating a takeover behind the scenes. Whichever side you're on, one thing is clear. The stakes have never been higher for Blake Lively, or for anyone who dares to stand against her. Blake Lively's future in Hollywood once seemed unbreakable. She had the star power, the audience's affection, and a steady stream of high-profile opportunities that kept her at the top of her game. But now, everything has changed. What started as an optimistic new project, an adaptation of Colleen Hoover's It Ends With Us, has exploded into a chaotic legal war that threatens Lively's reputation and potentially her entire career. It all started with It Ends With Us, a film adaptation of Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel, which dives headfirst into the topic of domestic turmoil. The story of Lily, a woman caught in a cycle of heartbreak and emotional manipulation, is a far cry from the breezy romantic comedies or lighter dramas Hollywood often churns out. So, when Blake Lively started promoting the film as though it were a cheerful girls' night flick, fans were stunned. Crucial details about the book's darker themes were all but ignored. Instead, Lively's social media posts and interviews featured floral dresses, bright color palettes, and an upbeat vibe that felt glaringly disconnected from the sobering realities at the heart of Hoover's story. Critics and fans alike slammed the actress for treating a serious topic with a carefree marketing spin. The tone-deaf approach led to a tidal wave of backlash, and it was just the beginning of the trouble. But rather than pausing to reconsider her messaging, Lively seemed to double down. She wove in promotions for her hair care line, her alcohol brand, and even her designer jeans, all while discussing a film that tackles deeply painful experiences. Needless to say, the criticism got louder. And once the public turned, everything spiraled out of control. Suddenly, the already fraught production took an even darker turn. Lively emerged with a lawsuit accusing the film's director, Justin Baldoni, of fostering a toxic and hostile work environment. She claimed misconduct behind the scenes and alleged that Baldoni's team actively orchestrated a smear campaign against her. Baldoni, in turn, filed a counterclaim that pinned the blame directly on Lively, insisting she had manipulated events to wrest creative control away from him and his production company, Wayfarer Studios. Before the public could catch its breath, the legal drama escalated. Rumors surfaced that Lively's husband, Ryan Reynolds, was also deeply involved behind the scenes. According to Baldoni's side, the power couple wanted exclusive rights to the sequel It Starts With Us, and that quest for control was the real reason behind these bombshell allegations. With reputations, massive film rights, and literally hundreds of millions of dollars at stake, the conflict quickly became a national headline. But that wasn't all. The tension leaked into the press, with Lively's team supposedly feeding confidential legal documents to media outlets. Baldoni and Wayfarer responded by releasing their own evidence, emails, text messages, and even videos that seemed to contradict Lively's narrative. With each passing day, the accusations got louder, uglier, and far more personal. If Blake Lively hoped her lawsuit would force Baldoni to play defense, she miscalculated. Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, wasted no time hitting back. He published an entire website showcasing evidence that Lively, not Baldoni, had run the production into chaos. The highlights included receipts for an inflated wardrobe budget, $500,000 more than expected, after Lively insisted on scrapping the original costumes for her own vision. Friedman didn't stop there. Court documents revealed a string of emails and messages suggesting Lively took over nearly every aspect of production, from script editing to marketing, and even the film's musical score. She allegedly brought in her own editor, who had never before worked on a full-length movie. Baldoni claimed his role as director was reduced to a figurehead, locked out of key decisions, cut from promotional materials, and even relegated to the basement at the film's premiere. It wasn't just about Lively overstepping, though. Friedman's site provided timelines and testimonies alleging that Lively's misconduct claims were part of a larger strategy to push Baldoni and Wayfarer into giving up the adaptation rights. According to this narrative, once she faced fan backlash for her out-of-touch marketing choices, she redirected the negative spotlight back onto Baldoni, accusing him of wrongdoing and effectively nuking his career. As Friedman told it, Lively's plan was to gain full creative control by painting him as the villain. By the time the two sides faced off in federal court, tensions had never been higher. The first major battle centered on a gag order that Lively's team demanded, aimed at silencing Friedman from publicly discussing the case. The reasoning? Lively felt Friedman was defaming her in the court of public opinion, especially with his ongoing document leaks and so-called explosive revelations. But federal courts rarely grant gag orders. Judges tend to side with press freedom and public transparency, especially in a high-profile case involving allegations of misconduct and defamation. True to form, the judge denied Lively's request. The fireworks continued as Friedman insisted he had no choice but to defend Baldoni publicly, given that Lively was allegedly tipping off reporters and funneling private information to major outlets herself. Worse for Lively, Friedman was also allowed to depose her. She had sought to block him from conducting the deposition, citing discomfort with his personal attacks on her character. Yet the judge was unmoved, making it clear that in federal court, you don't get to dictate which attorney asks the questions. If Lively wanted to proceed with her allegations, she would have to face Friedman, no exceptions. As if the lawsuits weren't enough, more revelations trickled out about Lively's alleged behind-the-scenes maneuvers. One of the most damning pieces of evidence was a prepared statement she and Ryan Reynolds supposedly pushed Baldoni to sign. This statement took full responsibility for the film's production troubles, praising Lively's professionalism while blaming Wayfarer for the entire public backlash. Critics viewed it as a calculated bid to shift accountability. If Baldoni and his team publicly confess to being the cause of any negativity around It Ends With Us, then Lively's own marketing missteps, like playing up her personal brands during serious interviews, would be conveniently swept under the rug. But Baldoni refused to release any such statement, leading Lively to face the blowback from fans who believed she had minimized the real issues of abuse depicted in the film. The fiasco only grew when Friedman uncovered metadata that suggested Lively had been cooperating with a major newspaper on a takedown piece about Baldoni well before the official lawsuit. The New York Times article that dropped soon after painted Baldoni as a destroyer of safe working environments and laid the blame for the film's troubles squarely on his shoulders. Baldoni was dropped by his agent, lost his podcast, and saw multiple film deals vanish in a matter of weeks. Public opinion became deeply divided. Some people refused to believe that Blake Lively, the actress known for her approachable charm and philanthropic endeavors could be guilty of orchestrating this level of sabotage. Others felt the mounting evidence told a different story, one of an actress used to getting her way and incapable of taking responsibility when things went wrong. Meanwhile, Baldoni's once promising career seemed to be crumbling before his eyes. For him, the stakes were enormous. He had poured everything into Wayfarer Studios, hoping to make a name for himself beyond acting roles. Now, potential partners were backing away, sponsors were turning cold, and he was forced to fight for his reputation while also pleading for the future of his production company. What about Lively? Despite the swirling controversies, her star status still offered some degree of protection. There was no immediate sign she'd be blacklisted altogether, but industry insiders started whispering that her once rosy image might not be so easy to salvage. Would studios hesitate to work with her, knowing how easily she seemed to override directors and push her own creative agenda? And if she were to lose this legal fight, would she ever regain her position as one of Hollywood's most beloved talents? Today, both sides remain locked in a war of words and legal maneuvers. The judge has denied a gag order, Friedman can continue releasing documents, and depositions loom on the horizon. On the one side, Lively is fighting to protect her brand, insisting she's the true victim of a toxic environment. On the other side, Baldoni is pulling out every receipt he can find to prove she took over production from day one, causing chaos for everyone involved. The clock is ticking. A trial date could be moved up, and more damning evidence may surface, dragging more Hollywood heavyweights into the fray. If the allegations stand, this could forever change how the industry treats big-name actors who step out of their lane. If they fall apart, Baldoni might yet salvage his career, and Lively could walk away triumphant but bruised. So where does all this leave us? At the edge of our seats, watching two powerful forces collide in a legal showdown that could transform both of their lives. Will Blake Lively weather the storm and emerge unscathed, or is this truly the beginning of the end for her and Ryan Reynolds' carefully crafted public image? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on this intense and unpredictable saga. One thing's for sure, this is only the beginning of what might become Hollywood's biggest controversy in years.